Salvation is uncompromising. Salvation is uncompromising. Relates demand that public servants relentless. DDS comply with Constitution, state laws, their oath. Attempting to placate tyrants, they'd be left alone, safe. Asinine because tyrants cannot be placated. Freedom fleeting Benjamin Franklin. Credit card junkies, like junk food junkies, how to reach us. Government administered who should know, understand the Constitution, preserving freedom, frame laws pursuant. Government controlled by the Constitution as the authority, political Bible. Copies of the Constitution were in every government office and with every employee for matters that came up to debate. Rights of Man, Thomas Paine, 1792. After no meaningless proposals, man, page 22, 98. Picture of a puzzle with the man. Forgive, missing. Records solve many 9/11 puzzles. Others linger. Federal Reserve System directs matters of money. Two governments in the United States, the duly constituted government and the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve operating the money powers reserved to Congress by the Constitution. Federal Reserve has 7 board members appointed by President for 14-year terms. The capitalist conspiracy. Federal Reserve Federal Reserve's never been subject to an audit. 1975, Congressman. 12 Federal Reserve banks in districts. Gold notes and certificates were pulled from circulation. 1928. 1929, the Great Depression began. 1934, FDR signed a House Joint Resolution 192, making it against public policy to possess gold coins. President did not blame bankers, Congress, for the economic plight. He blamed people. Gold was being hoarded by people who lost confidence in the system. Con, making the people think they had to turn over gold to trustworthy government. Presidential edict was unlawful and unconstitutional. Millions turned in their money. Gold and silver, only lawful form of money, could take to the mint and changed for coins. Federal Reserve notes is what we use as paper money. Page 22, 99. Legal tender, Federal Reserve note, forms of money, credit cards, bank debt drafts, checks, electronic funds transfers, pictures of puzzle. Page 2300. Clearwater Pet Center ad, sweets, Yellow Pages ad, banquets, milestones, Saul's jewelry, picture of Luden's cough drops box, picture of a top hat, L. Bluffs coaching. Thousands of churches have waived the right to free speech. The higher the taxation, more laws. Internal Revenue Code has 6,000 plus pages. IRS has 150,000 employees pre-2010. Budget of $16.25 billion annually. Page 2301. Picture of a puppy. Picture of Dex. Ads from the phone book. Super D predictions. CEO faces subpoenas. People in the news. J.P. Cook Stamp Company. The Federal Reserve Bank, biggest fraud in American history. Federal Reserve Bank has shareholders Rothschild, Rockefeller on the list. Balance of stocks in Federal Reserve owned by commercial member banks. Impulsive decisions without thinking of consequences. Government services in U.S. Westex. Federal Reserve note is an IOU. When politicians want more money, they dispatch a request to the Feds. Bureau of Printing and Engraving prints up bonds, indenturing taxpayers to redeem the debt. Bonds sold to Federal Reserve for a check backed by nothing. Bankers print the money that enables their check to clear. Opinions. Bush's message. Evidence. 97% of money supply is predominantly book entries. Page 2302. Picture of Louisville, Kentucky church. Paint the town brown uptown. IRS Bulletin Section 669, Internal Revenue Code. Check after check written paying obligations till only enough left to barely scrape by till next payday. Page 2303. IRS Code Bulletin. Picture of a gallery with a violinist. Picture of a UPS man. Picture of a man. Cartoon, Love is a Baby. Charity, Faith, Hope, Failed and Ease. List of meetings, Omaha, Nebraska. List of galleries in the Omaha World Herald. Borrow from private banking system, Fed. Federal Reserve is not accountable to the government. Federal receives well over $1 trillion a year. Congress holds them exempt from income taxes. Real estate taxes is all they pay. Fed has never been audited. Page 2304. What's the solution? Chapter 5. Get out of debt. The rich rule over the poor. The borrower is the slave of the lender. Scripture, Proverbs 22. Business and personal debt is significantly greater than the federal debt. Living beyond our means, a debilitating habit. Practice habit of paying for things as you acquire them. Debt is bondage. Bank foreclosures on homes, businesses were staggering during the last depression. Have a safe investment strategy. Scriptures, Proverbs 22:3. A prudent man sees danger, takes refuge, simple, keep going, and suffer for it. Disaster coming. What would you do to prepare? Many persons emerged from the country's last Great Depression multimillionaires. Wise investment decisions. Math tests aren't easy to close. Compare. Remain humble. Page 2305. Picture of candy canes. Tears shed for the past, clear eye to the future. Magwell. Daddy Warbucks in comic strip. Weighs the Federal Reserve Act chief architect on Little Orphan Annie. Cartoon started February 1932. Shortly before his death. Precious metals, the price of gold will go up. People will go for gold because it's scarce. Money all over the world. Safe investments are tangible substance as precious metals. IRS recognizes they cannot tax real money. You can barter trade for tangibles and never report it. Few investment workers ever abuse their clients to invest in gold, advise their clients to invest in gold and silver. Platinum, it's not a lucrative area for them. Gold is the most stable investment one can make. Smart investors will put the minimum of 25% in precious metals or more. Citibank, former president of Citibank, invests 100% in gold. Economic solutions. Coin dealers will take Federal Reserve notes for gold and silver. Buy bullion junk bags of silver, rare coins, easier to liquidate. Diverse and planned coin portfolio will ensure safe investment. Metals, not a short-term investment. Page 2306. Jesus bow tie. Picture of a piano. Cartoon. Uranus. Special section DC Advantage. Memphis nickel. Picture of a bonus crossword. Economic solutions say more invest, more, give more to charities. 1997 income tax revenue projections $687.9 billion, 45% increase over the present figures. Limit to how much taxation a people can endure. Page 2307, the crossword scratch off. Picture of a wheelchair with flames. Out of debt red. Picture of Bush with soldiers. April 1986, IRS Commission resigned after publicly admitted 35 million Americans no longer file tax returns. Research indicates number is higher, non-filers. History demonstrated raising taxes equals fewer filers. IRS calls it non-compliance. Ronald Reagan comments IRS is completely unjust, counterproductive. 1983. To meet tax levels, we need more earnings than a higher tax bracket. Eliminating personnel income tax would allow more to stay home, eliminate child care problems. Marxist income tax is destroying the traditional family. The power to tax is the power to destroy. Founding fathers went to war with King George in part because of taxation without representation. Crown only wanted 5% of earnings. Taxes added together and hidden cost of voluntary compliance, average American paying 64% of their earnings. U.S., one of the most heavily taxed nations in the world. Land of the slave, home of the move. Income tax is voluntary. You've been contributing all along. Ramada Inn Central, Omaha, Nebraska. Page 2308. Principles too quick to use. Teacher shortage as excuse. Our view, studies indicate schools don't do enough to keep good educators. Exodus, bracing for flood, surge right paths. Teachers, locked expertise 1999 to 2000 years who lack a major in subjects they were assigned to teach. 1993, the American Bar Association estimated 37% of Americans being involved in illegal action. Trial attorneys make $1,000 an hour, win or lose. Multinational consolidation of banking interests, siege control of political government. Trilateral Commission represents a skilled, coordinated effort to seize control, consolidate four centers of powers. Four centers of powers: political, monetary, intellectual, and ecclesiastical. Ignorance is the number one reason for county problems. People-created government granted limited powers. People's responsibility to keep government public servants in line. Ignorance of the law and your rights is no excuse. Scripture, Hosea 6:4-6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. America has degenerated, declined, deteriorate into the most litigious, as unreasonable, proven to lawsuits in the world listening history. 800,000 attorneys pre-2010 in the United States. 70% of the world's attorney population here in America. America has 5% of the people. January 1, 2020, U.S. had 1,327,000 active lawyers. 20 million worldwide. Data. Law schools graduating 40,000 a year. Government not able to pay debts, tempted to print more money, catastrophe in hyperinflation. Hyperinflation impoverishes many, enriches some. 1995, 100% of every tax dollar you are coerced to pay will go to service of the interest on the debt. Part of the system depends on borrowing to fund the budget deficit each year. Interest on $3 trillion debt is $240 billion annually. 40% of all personal income taxes paid. It's 9 years, debt will swell to $20 trillion. Annual interest will be $1.6 trillion. 200% of all projected income taxes for the year. 33% average tax rate. 1991, Larry Burkett, tax-coloring economic earthquake. 1920s, Germany experienced hyperinflation, high denomination, mark note was 100 marks, roughly $100. October 1923, German marks were made where $100 billion couldn't print fast enough. Banks closed on insufficient funds. 50,000 marks was worthless. Note, for 50,000 marks required 2 million marks to mail it. Gold and silver prices in marks 1919 and 1923. Established media, blatantly biased, contemptuously liberal. Conservative views expressed, truth or not. List of CEOs influencing the CFRs controlling media. Page 2309. Ghost of German francs to buy gold and silver. 1919 to 1923. Chart of German francs. CEOs influencing media list. Hyperinflation is worse than bankruptcy. Economic catastrophe. Silver dollars is made up of 75% copper and 25% nickel. Mr. Lincoln made Lincoln greenbacks, ordering the Treasury to issue the paper notes. Lincoln greenbacks instead of borrowing from the Bank of England, both presidents assassinated. LBJ first executive order meant to stop making silver coins, issued copper, other metals instead. LBJ was demonstrably responsible for debauching the currency. Page 13. Economic solutions. The Fed hid the contract on the face of the note. Text. Cunning. Type. Forced it to fine print. 1964. There were no more Federal Reserve notes being issued redeemable for money. 50 million first non-redeemable notes shipped the day JFK was buried on November 26, 1963. President Kennedy issued executive order ordering the Treasury. Paper money debt is capital is government debts. Issues depending on government necessities. Government absolved itself from its own debts, compensated banks by absolving their debts. Government is grown to grow rich by not paying back what it borrows. 1846. Bureau prints $16 million notes a day. Land of the free, home of the brave. Chapter 4. Through ignorance, apathy, a small wealthy clique of power brokers robbed us of the rights, liberties, paging price for men, comatose levels of complacency by our parents. We need to shake the country from slumber. We volunteered our freedom, volunteered tax dollars to pay for tyranny, debt-laden, first fiat currency. Millions chose to live in denial, lack of moral integrity to take a stand. Cognitive. Mental shutdown. Psychological disturbances of Americans today. The truth is fighting aloud, fear to paralyze them. Natural of man to deal with in illusions of hope. Know the truth. Socialists seek power through evolutionary process. Socialists who wish to speed process by terror and revolution, known as communists. In 1848, Karl Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto, most widely read political pamphlet in history. The 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto listed: abolish property, all rent to be public purpose, heavy tax, abolish all inheritance, confiscate property, abolish children, factory labor, free education for all children in public schools. When class distinctions have disappeared, production, public power will lose political character, political power, no one class suppressing another. FBI agent book reveals long-term goals of the Marxist agenda, listed in January 10, 1963, Congressional Record. 45 listed. U.S. coexistence, only alternative to atomic war.